The Carolina Hurricanes kicked off their 5-game road trip with a win over the San Jose Sharks on Friday night. And tonight they're looking to continue that with a game against the Seattle Kraken. Find out all about Friday's game and tonight's game in this episode of Locked On Hurricanes.
You're Locked On Hurricanes, your daily podcast on the Carolina Hurricanes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey there, Caniacs. I'm your host, Jared Ellis, and you are listening to Locked On Hurricanes on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. And as always, thank you for making Locked On Hurricanes your first listen of this Monday afternoon. Don't forget to follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at LO_Hurricanes and myself on Twitter at JaredEllis_96. And of course, the Carolina Hurricanes are in the midst of their West Coast road trip because the State Fair is going on here in Raleigh, right across the street from PNC Arena. So, not really going to be some good hockey traffic to deal with. So, they're obviously on their road trip, and they kicked that off on Friday against the San Jose Sharks. It was the first installment of Canes After Dark this year. If you guys know about that on Twitter, then God help you. But the Carolina Hurricanes against the Sharks, we're going to recap that real quick, as well as hear from Rod Brind'Amour and Brent Burns in their post-game comments as well. But just a quick recap of that game. The Hurricanes, first off, they won 2-1. Yay! But it wasn't a very pretty game, in my opinion. The first period was very much like the season opener of the Hurricanes, really just struggling to find their game, find their footing. And San Jose was the same way as well. So it wasn't all Hurricanes there, but yeah, that is something that is definitely really going to have to get under control because you can't keep playing from behind. I get that was just the second game of the season. Tonight's the third. But this is stuff they need to go ahead and start working at fixing because we've seen how this goes time after time of them getting out to slow starts, having to play from behind, and yeah, they make a run, but sometimes they're able to win, sometimes they're not. And yeah, that goes for every game that's ever been played, and regardless of the sport. But the Hurricanes cannot keep playing from behind like they did in the season opener against Columbus and on Friday against San Jose. Can't keep doing that because Evgeny Svechnikov, he ended up getting the Sharks' lone goal in that game, and really the goalies were the X factors in this game for both teams. James Reimer obviously played for the Hurricanes, for a couple years and knows a lot of the guys on this team and how to stop them. So, of course, he's the guy you want in net for this. So, of course, that's going to be the case. And that was the case last season whenever we played San Jose. James Reimer, he was on a different level playing against us. We know how good he is for us, and we're seeing now just how good he is against us, having played for the Hurricanes for those years, kind of knowing, again, just how some of these core guys play and what to expect from them. And Antti Raanta, he was the reason it wasn't as bad as it could have been for the Hurricanes. He kept the Hurricanes in this when they were struggling out on the ice to find their game. He was the team MVP in this game against San Jose. And without him, it definitely would have been a loss because of just how good James Reimer was for the Sharks. If it wasn't for Antti Raanta, this would have been a loss for the Hurricanes because of how good Reimer was and just how slow the Hurricanes were at trying to find their game, plain and simple. But thankfully, the Hurricanes did end up finding their game. You had Martin Necas tying it towards the end of the second period. Andre Sveshgod, he had an amazing strip off of LeBlanc and then passed it over to Necas and had a great, beautiful play to tie it up, have the Hurricanes get a bit of momentum heading into that third period. And it was more of the same getting into the third period. Both teams just kind of going back and forth, both goalies making great saves. And it wasn't until the final 2 minutes of the game that the Hurricanes ended up taking a lead. That was by Sebastian Aho with a minute 58 left in the game. Sebastian Aho coming in clutch. That's why we have him. Plain and simple. Yeah. That's why, he's the face of the franchise. Yeah. He's supposed to be the guy that makes those clutch goals whenever you need it most, and that's what he did in this game. Gave the Hurricanes the win, got the game-winning goal. And like I said, the Hurricanes were lucky to come away with the win in this game. If Antti Ranta wasn't on his game so much, it would have been a lot worse. But this game was also Brent Burns' return to San Jose after spending 11 seasons there with the Sharks, and this is what he had to say in postgame.
How surreal was it to be back here after all these years from San Jose and being the visiting guy?
Yeah, it's tough. I think it's, I knew it was going to be hard. It's just a weird day, walking in and seeing all the security guys that got to know so well. And, you're trying to read face-offs and guys are, you're smiling at guys. It's great. It's great to be back. It's great to see a lot of really good people that have meant a lot to me and my family for the last 11 years. But it's weird to play hockey. I think it's nice to get that over with. And but it's awesome. It's a great barn. I was happy it was a home opener. The bracelets are buzzing, and it's just a great building. Walking into the rink and seeing the festivities going on, and it's a special place. I've always said, like, that jersey I think is special for a lot of hockey guys. I think it didn't matter where you're from. You grew up in Europe, you grew up in Canada, but that shark, it's a lot of starter jackets as kids and wearing that hat, and it's special to put that jersey on, and it's good to come back.
Now that it's over, is everything they expected to be as far as emotion-wise?
Yeah, no, I don't know. You try to not to think about it. And, hopefully you get a good nap in. I was good. It's just weird. I don't know. It's still weird for me to go to Mini, and then it's been a long time since I've been there, and so it's not normal. It's just I think we're creatures of habit. And, anytime you get out of that, it's kind of weird. But it was special. It was great. It was awesome. To see the video and see some of the the guys and some of those moments that we had, and it's just a special place. It's great people. Warm up. You're trying to get going, and looking over, seeing guys. I had pucks coming flying at me. I know they're coming from deep down there. For sure, Hurdle hit me in the skates a couple times. It's a great group of guys over there. And, it's definitely tough. That's the hardest part, is to leave those people, and and saying that it's exciting. I think as an older guy, it's been good. I've said it before, but you get a fresh boost of energy and nerves, and that part of it's good. It's always hard to come back.
And were you able to get a chance to visit some of those guys?
No, I'm talking to you guys. They're all over there. I'm supposed to go see them. I tried to dodge this. And, I'm going to go see them now.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, so of course, that was something I mentioned in the preview of the game, the emotions being there from Brent Burns and being something that would be playing a factor in that game. And again, he spent 11 years of his life there in the Sharks organization. So for him to, be welcomed back the way he was. If you haven't seen that video that the Sharks did for him, go watch it. It was a very nice video. Tribute that they did for him, so go watch that. But yeah, he obviously played a good game. You expect that from him, but that was really something that he mentioned, it's still hard going back to Minnesota and weird going there, and to get this game just done and out of the way, I know that sounds a little harsh, but to get that done and out of the way, like last year, getting that first loss out of the way, they opened up like 9-0 or something like that. Getting that first one done and out of the way, I think is gonna be good for him to, just get going, Again, having spent so long there, it can be a little weird going to somewhere new, and it's gonna be a great season for Brent Burns. We talked about it before, but again, the emotions riding high for him in that game, and then to go out and have a good game. And speaking of emotions riding high, of course, we did have Jalen Chatfield drop the gloves. I did forget to mention that earlier, but you love to see that. But we also got to hear from Rod Brind'Amour after the game on Friday, and this is what Rod had to say.
Coach, down by one, and this group just continues to battle back through the first two games. What have you learned about the resiliency of this team?
Well, not really learning anything. I kind of know already. How we're going to play. We just keep playing our game. I mean, there was kind of a, I don't want to say lucky goal they got in the first one, but I thought we were playing okay, not great in the first, but then second and third, we got right to our game. We got rewarded for a pretty good effort.
Auntie Ronzo with some key saves. What did you see from him tonight?
Didn't have a lot of work, but then when he did, all of a sudden he was huge. There was one penalty kill there where he made 2 or 3 great A's, and then at the end of the game came up with a couple big ones. So you got to have that, right? Like that's what it takes. I mean, the other goalie was playing great. Rhymes was playing phenomenal, keeping his team in the game, and Rance was right there equal to the task.
Marty Natchez with another goal tonight. What kind of impact can he make?
Been great. So, I mean, now he's just got to keep doing that, right? I mean, this is what we knew about. He had this capability, and, it's 2 games in, but it's pretty impressive, 2 games.
What was your view on Aho's game winner? What did you see on that?
Well, it was, again, I thought we had a lot of play in the O-zone. We weren't just a lot of close calls, and that was just a great play by, Pesh taking a little second to look, and, Aho beats his guy in the net, and, on the tape, put it in. So Aho had a bunch of chances. Rhymes made it on a power play there, just robbed them right before there, about a shift or so before, and so I think we got what we deserved tonight for sure.
Is it kind of special being the Sharks' home opener to have Burns come back and the reception that you guys are able to win for him?
For sure. It's a great moment for him. They did a nice tribute there. I thought all that it was a special night for him, and the only thing would have been better if he would have got the game winner, But I'm sure he's pretty happy with the way it all went.
You think the group had any extra motivation to get him to win tonight?
Definitely. I mean, that's what it's about. I mean, we all know it was a big game for him. He'll remember this game, for the rest of his life, and none of us will probably will, but it's special for him, and we knew that.
What's it like for Svechnikov going up against his brother?
Yeah, that's a question for him.
Yeah,
I think they've done it a few times now, but it is pretty cool to be able to do that.
All right, thanks, Rod.
You got it, guys.
So, Rod echoing the same thing that I've said already of Antti Ranta being on it for the Hurricanes. Yeah, he didn't have to face a whole lot. I want to say the San Jose Sharks only had like 19 shots, not 9 shots. But yeah, him really coming up big for the Hurricanes, Reimer keeping the Sharks in it. And, again, first period, Rod said it was okay. I personally think, it wasn't god awful by any means, but I still want to see some work be done there because this is an issue that we've had with this team for a while of the slow starts. It's not just this season. If you remember last season, if you were listening to the show then, that's a criticism I had pretty much the entire season of the team getting off to slow starts. And this team is very resilient, and they always battle back, and they never give up. But again, like I said, you can't do that for 82 games or 80 more games of the regular season now. You can't do that. You cannot keep doing that, and they really need to get that under control. And, of course, like Rod said, big games from Brent Burns for him. This game he's going to remember for the rest of his life. And like I said, it's good to get that first game in San Jose out of the way, because That's going to be a big, monkey off his back. You're looking at the calendar, just like, got to go play against the team I played for 11 years, getting that off his back. But San Jose, that was Friday. That was Friday. Now it's time to move on to tonight against the Seattle Kraken. And we will do that right after this quick break, folks. Folks, the numbers don't lie. In the last decade, over 4 million people have chosen SimpliSafe security to protect their home. You don't trust that many people without doing something right. At SimpliSafe, your safety is the only thing that matters. With 24/7 monitoring, SimpliSafe's agents call you the moment a threat is detected and dispatch police or first responders in an emergency, even if you're not at home or can't be reached. They have blankets of home protection with advanced sensors for every room, window, and door, HD security cameras for inside and outside your home, smarter ways to detect motion that only alert you when the threat is real, and even hazard sensors that instantly detect fires, floods, or other threats to your home. Their monitoring experts use proprietary advanced response technology to visually confirm when a break in is real so you can get the highest priority police dispatch. So, right now, you can go to simplysafe.com/lockedonnhl to save 20% on your SimpliSafe security system when you sign up for an interactive monitoring plan and get your first month free. Visit simplysafe.com/lockedonnhl to learn more. There's no safe like SimpliSafe. Now, folks, again, the Hurricanes are in Seattle tonight. This is the first time they're in Seattle this season, and this is going to be, I feel, a bit of a different team than we saw last year for Seattle. Last year's Seattle team, while we did split that season series, they won in Seattle, we won in Raleigh. I feel that this team, given it's very early in the season, but you look at the team right now, they're rolling. They've had 9 different players score a goal already this season, and they have the 5th best power play in the NHL and are on a 3-game power play goal streak. So you look at that, this team, they got some momentum going into this game. And yes, the Hurricanes do as well. So that's going to be some interesting stuff to see. And, I've mentioned in the past how one thing that the Hurricanes have working for them is that you can't just shut down like 1 or 2 guys. How other teams, you're like, all right, the offense is going through this guy and or that guy. And so that's something that's worked for the Hurricanes in the past, but it's something that's working for Seattle right now. Again, they've had 9 different guys score a goal already this season. So it's not like you have to, you know, focus all of your attention on these 1 or 2 guys. You got a bunch of guys that you're going to have to look out for Seattle. And that's going to be something that the Hurricanes are going to have to look out for tonight. It's something that we know they can do. They've obviously went up against teams like that in the past, done it well. And that's going to be a big thing for them tonight. And you also look at the Hurricanes, again, I mentioned them having some in them. 2 guys in particular, Marty Necas and Andrei Svechnikov, both being on point streaks. Necas leading the team in goals. You heard Rod say after San Jose, he's got stuff going for him. He needs to keep it going. That's the big thing with Necas. Let's not start to petter out. And, another thing is Sebastian Aho. In the past, he's had slow starts to the season, kind of not great in October. We did see that flip last year. Hopefully, that game-winning goal in San Jose wasn't just a one-off, and we're seeing him tonight as well show up and, be the clutch guy that we know he is and can be. That's going to be big as well. I want these guys that are having some momentum to continue having that momentum tonight because Seattle's got momentum on their side. We want that to continue for us as well. And one thing that I mentioned, with Sebastian Aho not being great in October is that the Carolina Hurricanes. One thing that it's a fun stat, and I don't put a whole lot of weight into it, but they are really, really good in the month of October. Since the 2018 season to now, they are 24-8-3 with a .735 win percentage, and they have won their last 12 games in the month of October. So I I don't put a whole lot of weight into that because that's just kind of a fun little stat there. But the Hurricanes, they get off to good starts, and looking at that right there, that's a great start, and it's something that's not just, you know, a one-off type thing, like last year when they went undefeated in the month of October. I don't think that's gonna happen again, but, you know, they get off to really good starts over the past few years, and that is something that maybe helps them, maybe doesn't. I'm not putting a whole lot of weight into that, but the Hurricanes, going into tonight's game against Seattle, they know what they got to do. And again, the big thing for me, we're going to go ahead and get into the keys of the game now, is avoiding that slow start. Yeah, let's show up and not be struggling to find their game early. It's one thing, if you got your game going and the period ends tied or you're down 1-0 or something like that. But like if you found your game, then okay. But as we've seen in these first two games of the season, that hasn't been the case. They've been struggling, they've been sluggish, they can't really get anything going and clicking. And that's something that's really got to change tonight for the Hurricanes to really just build some more momentum on this season. Come away with the win tonight, but also just advance in the season in general, because you can't keep doing that and playing from behind. That is going to be big for me tonight. Again, I did mention, I want to see Marty Necas continue his momentum that he has, extend his point streak. Same with Andrei Svechnikov. I'd like to see uh, Sebastian Aho. I can't believe I forgot his name there. Again, also, just continue to have a good month of October and not fall into the Aho in October that we've seen in the past. I also would like to see some other guys, be not necessarily showing up. Everyone's showed up for the most part this season, but I'd like to see some other guys, just kind of step up and have themselves a game tonight. You know, I get obviously, we talked about him a lot with San Jose. I want to see Brent Burns. I want to see him notch his first as a Hurricane. Stefan Nazin, I would love to see him finally notch a goal for the Hurricanes this season, because in the last game against San Jose, he only had a little over 7 minutes of ice time, 7 minutes and 8 seconds, 2 minutes and 18 of which were on the power play. He had 5 shots, and I want to see him get rewarded for that, because again, Andre Kasha, he's been sent back to Raleigh due to a possible concussion. So Nazin likely still going to be in the lineup tonight against Seattle. But I want to see him get rewarded. Some of these guys have been playing really well. I do want to see them get rewarded on the score sheet, whether it be a goal, an assist, something like that. I want to see some of these other guys get rewarded. And, I also want to see, just them support the goalie a little bit more. That kind of really goes with finding their game early and not, having to have their goalie bail them out for a good portion of the game, like we saw against San Jose. I don't want to see that again. Again, just find their game early. That's the biggest thing I can say with this game. If they can do that, they can win this game easily. I think that the Hurricanes are definitely going to outmatch the Kraken, but again, the Kraken do have some momentum on their side, and that's going to be big. But we also got to look at the potential lineup for tonight for the Hurricanes, and we'll do that right after this quick break. Now, folks, it's time to predict the lineup for tonight for the Hurricanes. Obviously, it's a 10 p.m. puck drop. It's 11:37 a.m. here in Raleigh, so lines have not been announced as of right now, and they won't be for several more hours. So that is something there. So we're really just going to be predicting just what we could possibly see for the Hurricanes. Because again, going back to the home opener, Don Waddell did say that lineup that we saw on October 12th, maybe not the same one we're going to see whenever they come back from this road trip. I do think with this game tonight, I think the only change we're going to see in this game is potentially the third pairing on the blue line being changed. I think forward wise that it's going to be the exact same thing that we saw against San Jose. I think it will still be Sebastian Aho centering Teuvo Teravainen and Seth Jarvis. Then Andrei Svechnikov, Jesperi Kotkaniemi, Marty Necas, Paul Stastny, Jordan Stahl, Jesper Foss, Jordan Martinook, Derek Stepan, Stefan Naze. I think forwards, that's what it's going to be tonight. I don't see that changing in the slightest. I think the only thing we maybe see change is that third pairing of Calvin DeHaan and Jalen Chatfield maybe getting switched out to Ethan Barrett, Dylan Coghlan, or some combination of it switching. That's really the only thing I see switching tonight. I think your defense, the other two pairs are obviously staying the same of Jacob Slavin, Brent Burns, Brady Shea, Brett Pesce. Those aren't getting changed at all. We know that. Goalie wise is something that I'm not sure. I think you maybe go Freddie. You maybe go Ronta. Both have made really good cases for themselves. It's not like either has played poorly so far this season. I think you kind of want to get them both just ready to go and get them in the season because I said early on you don't want to ride Freddie too hard this season to potentially save his body for later in the season and in the playoffs, so you aren't having a situation like last year. But you also want to get him ready as well, and you don't want to have him rusty. But again, I think with either goalie, you can't go wrong. Ronta had a great game on Friday. Freddie, was really good in the home opener as well. You can't go wrong there. I honestly think it's a coin flip. I thought Freddie would have been getting the start in San Jose just with the way it had been in the past, but they went ahead on with Ronta. I'm fine with that. I'm fine if they go with Freddie tonight. I'm fine if they go with Ronta tonight. Both have shown they got it. I'm not necessarily worried about, oh God, who is it gonna be? It's a coin flip, really. Had to put money on it, I'd probably say Freddie. I think they may flip back and forth here, to start out the season. Again, you could also take into consideration the next two games, of being Edmonton and Calgary. Maybe you want Freddie for those games, so you play Ronta tonight. Maybe that's what you do there. I think that again, you can't go wrong either way of whatever they decide to do tonight, whether you go Freddie or Ronta. I'm fine with either. Again, the big question is going to be just that third pairing on the blue line. Is it DeHaan Chatfield? Is it Barrett Coghlan? A combination of both of them. I'm not sure. I think Jalen Chatfield, he needs to stay in the lineup because the man he's taking every opportunity that he has right now, and I'm really enjoying what I'm seeing from him. Calvin DeHaan, he had that one miss in that game against San Jose when Evgeny fired the shot by him, and then getting past Ronta as well. It was really kind of the only hiccup, in my opinion, that he's had so far this season. Then that penalty that he took in the home opener, that's really been it. So I think you're fine, keeping those guys in, but again, you also do want to get the other guys in. You don't want them to be developing any sort of rust or anything, sitting up in the press box or anything like that. I do think tonight would be a good opportunity to get Ethan Bear and Dylan Coughlin in the lineup, give Chatfield and DeHaan a break. But it's really just something we're going to have to wait and see. I could really see it going either way. I felt the same way in San Jose. I thought that was a team you could go either way. I think you need to get, if it was my opinion, I think you need to get Bear and Coughlin in there tonight because you're going to go against two powerhouses in the next two games in Edmonton and Calgary. So you're going to want to know, all right, which is the better defensive pairing or combination of them both, whatever it may be. You want to get them in now so you're not, I'm going to plug this pairing against Connor McDavid and it's not really working, So I think tonight they probably should go with Ethan Bear and Dylan Coughlin. Not that DeHaan and Chatfield have done anything wrong by any means. I think they've been pretty solid. But I do think you need to get those guys in the lineup and just see what they can bring in the regular season. Obviously, Coughlin looked really good in the preseason. Bear, not so much. So they got to get in at some point. I think tonight's the perfect opportunity to do it. But I'm just a podcast host. I don't get to make those decisions. But if it were me, forward line's the same. Top two defensive pairings the same. I think you go Bear Coughlin. And then I think you go Antti Raanta tonight in goal. So you got a well-rested Freddie Anderson heading into Edmonton. But that's just me. Let me know what you guys think on Twitter and Instagram at LO_Hurricanes and on my own personal Twitter at JaredEllis_96. Don't forget to subscribe to the show on YouTube and hit that notification bell. And I will talk to you guys in tomorrow's episode where we recap tonight's game against the Kraken.